Switching sides like a Gemini. Now available in paperback and e-readers, Isis, Amari's Revenge. The goddess next door is confronted by a Nubian queen out for revenge at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in this inaugural Isis series adventure. Get your copy of Isis, Amari's Revenge in paperback and e-readers at Amazon.com and online booksellers everywhere. Before I get into this review of the Action Force Gemini, I wanted to let everybody know that the SJS Direct 2024 catalog is now available in paperback and digital format at online booksellers. And you can pick up all the books of the SJS Direct 2024 catalog, such as John Haynes' Illuminati, Isis, Dark Incubus, and Esteem Horror in the Hamptons in paperback right now on Amazon.com. And you can also pick up all three of these books along with all the other books in the SJS Direct universe at all the online booksellers like Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. And you can find them at digital format and other online booksellers everywhere. Now, I've been an action figure collector for over 30 years, and when I found out about 6-inch G.I. Joes coming out in 2020, I quickly put in my pre-order for all of those Joes because I've always wanted G.I. Joes, but growing up poor in the South Bronx, I just never had the money to afford them, and those figures were very small and would break very easily. However, when G.I. Joe Classified came out, I got excited because these figures were the same size and scale as Marvel Legends, and I could mix and match G.I. Joes with my Marvel Legends or my older figures like my DC Universe Classics and have everybody in the same scale. Now, as Hasbro was releasing G.I. Joe Classified, Bobby Valla, a former employee of Hasbro, decided to create his own action figure line, Action Force, and while my brother wanted to get some of them for me as gifts, I wasn't really interested just yet because I wanted to get some of my favorite Joes early on, like Flint, Lady J, and Roadblock, and many others like Dusty. I was hoping that the Joe line would expand, and I wanted to have those figures first. But now that I've got most of my favorite G.I. Joe Classified characters in the Classified line, I'm taking another look at Action Force, and I decided to test out the line by picking up Gemini. Now, Gemini's look really was one that was interesting to me because it really reminded me a lot of the Abby Shudo character that Paulie Perrott played on NCIS, and when I read the background, the character really reminded me a lot of the Matilda Crowley character I created for the Spinsterella trilogy, and her background really reminded me of Matilda's baby bat years in Spellbound. So I was really intrigued by this character's backstory, and I really wanted to pick this figure up, and I finally was able to pick it up because they were having a sale over on Valaverse where they had these figures for $3 off as a discount, and that $3 was the thing that motivated me to pick up this figure for this review. And I have to say, in the box, she looks fantastic, and the overall design is absolutely great with great colors and very bold and dynamic, and I could easily see Gemini standing at the side of my other classified women, such as Lady J and Scarlet, and even the new retro Scarlet and CoverGirl, and I can't wait to unbox this figure and see how awesome she is. And now that I've got Abby Shudo, Gemini, out of the box, I want to take a look at all of the accessories that came with the figure. And the first is this Action Force stand, which is a great looking stand with the Action Force logo, and the stand is of a heavier weight than the ones I've gotten with recent G.I. Joe Classified retro figures. This one looks like it can hold the figure up and also maintain the figure's balance, so this is a really nice accessory to have that we don't get with the standard Classified figures, but we do get it with the retro figures. But those stands are kind of flimsy and kind of weak, but this one is made of a nice heavyweight plastic, and I'm glad to have it as a standard accessory with a standard Action Force figure. Now, in addition to the stand, we get a lot of accessories we usually don't get with standard G.I. Joe classified figures back in the 2020s, but we get with some figures today, like with Quick Kick. And one of the things I was happy to see is that Gemini here has 3 sets of hands, and those 3 sets of hands are really going to come in handy as related to having her when she's in different poses or on different missions. So I'm really happy to see that we did get a fist, because if you're out here in combat, you need a fist to throw down with the bad guys. And I'm happy to see that we've got a sort of gripping hand without the trigger fingers. This is really nice to have as another hand to have as part of the collection. And I'm also happy to see just a regular hand. So we get a lot of great hands for the character expressing themselves. And I'm really happy to have all of these different hands as a part of the accessories with this figure. Now we get the standard knife with this figure, and I'm glad to have this as well, because this really reminds me again of the ones we get with classified. So I'm happy to have a knife as part of her mission gear. And I'm also happy to see that we've got 3 clips. Now anybody who bought old school G.I. Joe classified know we didn't really get a lot of guns where they had separate clips. But with Action Force, we were getting the guns with the clips, and I'm really happy to see that we've got 3 different clips, one with the rifle, one for the pistol, I believe. I hope. No, I don't think it's one for the pistol, but I'm glad that we do have extra clips, because if you're in combat, you're definitely going to need a lot of ammunition. Now, the figure itself out of the box, I'm going to really take a more critical look at this figure, and I'll do that in the next segment of this video. Now, when it comes to Gemini, I was really impressed with this figure's overall quality. I really love the really detailed facial expression with the sneer that she has. Now, this sneer really shows how she's serious about combat in action and is a great sculpt. And I only wish that Bobby Vala and the people at Valaverse had given us a really neutral head sculpt to go along with the serious one, because I really would have wanted to see the both sides of Gemini as related to her character. Because if she's got 2 sides, I would rather see both of those sides expressed with this character and get that second head. That's my only gripe about this figure, who has fantastic build quality based on the female buck for the Valaverse female soldiers, and the quality on this figure is exceptional compared to other lines such as G.I. Joe Classified, Marvel Legends, and even Loose Collector. And I'd have to say that the build quality on this figure surpasses all of those companies, and the quality here is just extremely exceptional. Now, when it comes to the scale of Gemini, I really had a bit of an issue with it, because it was a little taller than the other women in the G.I. Joe Classified line. Gemini is taller than Scarlet from G.I. Joe Classified and CoverGirl from G.I. Joe Classified, and just towers over newer, more recent women such as Agent Helix. She basically towers over these characters such as Scarlet, CoverGirl, and Agent Helix, and definitely towers over newer characters like Shooter. She's basically just a very large figure who is really not really in scale with the male G.I. Joe Classified characters such as Flint. She's basically even bigger than Flint. So when I really look at the scale of Gemini, she's really a tall one that really, again, reminds me a lot of Paulie Perrette, who is over 5 feet 10 inches tall. And that basically is shown with this character, who is a bit more in scale with Marvel Legends, such as Captain America, rather than being in scale with G.I. Joe Classified. So she's basically good with the Valaverse characters, and is possibly fudgeable with the Marvel Legends, and possibly fudgeable with the G.I. Joe Classified characters, but is going to be a bit of a challenge as related to scale with the G.I. Joe Classified women, such as the Retro Scarlet. I really don't see how she's going to fit in with those women, because she's much taller, and really reminds me of the DC character from Suicide Squad known as Duchess. And this is a really, again, great design but I just wish it was a little smaller with a little bit with that neutral head to go along with it. Now the vest for Gemini comes off with a bit of a challenge. First you have to remove the weapon from the hand, and then you have to take off the character's head, and then you just pull this button back as related to it. You have to pull the neck peg down a bit to get it over the neck peg, and there, once you get it off the neck peg and over the arm, the vest comes off, and you can go and put Abby's head back on, and we can get back to the other part of this review where I go over all of the articulation. And once you get the vest off of Abby Shudo, I mean Gemini, that's where this figure really starts to stand out and really look dynamic. And this whole militarized look looks absolutely fantastic once you get that vest off. And once you get the vest off, this is where you really start to see how the articulation on a Valaverse figure is far superior to that of a G.I. Joe classified, and you really start to see how the build quality is on another level. Now, with the Gemini, you start to see that the plastic is a lot firmer, and that really makes it really durable as related to posing, and it really was something that I liked, seeing that this plastic was very firm, and I liked seeing that the body could be one that was having this harder plastic, because it made it where you could basically articulate it and not fear that something would wind up stressed or not really pose properly. That was one of the problems I have with a lot of G.I. Joe classified figures, is that the bodies are really soft in comparison to Valaverse. I mean, Scarlet is made out of some really softer plastic, and she moves very nice, but she does not move as dynamically as Gemini, who has a great range of motion with the torso from side to side and the overall ball waist, which is far superior to what I've seen with Hasbro. And the ball hips, really drop down hips, move very nicely, and we can get into splits without a problem. Again, very nice setup for the articulation that improves on everything that was created with the established model for Marvel Legends back from about 2014 onwards. And the articulation is very nice on this figure. My only complaint is that we don't get the forward shoulders that we get on the male G.I. Joe classified figures, and we only started to get those kind of shoulders, these shoulders with Retro Scarlet, but this is right in line with what we got with the original line of G.I. Joe classified. So the articulation here, setup here, is very nice for Gemini, and I really love the way this figure is set up. I mean, it just fits right in line with all the other lines of 6-inch scale figures like Marvel Legends that's related to articulation. So all your figures are gonna flow seamlessly because this figure has the nice pinless joints, has the, again, really dynamic articulation setup, and has everything you want in a figure, from the ball neck and the side to side, the ball jointed shoulders, the bicep swivel, double elbows, wrist joints, and going swivel and side to side, and we get the nice drop down hips, and we get the ball torso on 2 joints, we get double knees, and we get the thigh swivel, and we also get the ankle rockers. So everything that is standard with a Marvel Legend we get with Bobby Vala, and we also get 3 sets of hands which really switch in and switch out very easily. I mean, you don't have a hard time pulling. I mean, you might have a bit of a struggle pulling these out, but they do go in very much the same. But the whole thing is, everything here feels very sturdy, and I never feel like anything is going to snap or break when I'm going and playing with this figure. I don't feel like anything on this figure is going to break at all, and that really shows me how exceptionally high quality this figure is for a figure that is not manufactured by a major company. I mean, for a figure that is not manufactured by a major company like Hasbro or Mattel, Bobby Vala really knocked this one out the park with his high quality plastics, high quality paint, and just great attention to detail and sculpt. I mean, when it comes to a Valaverse figure, I could easily want to put more of them in with my G.I. Joe classifieds on display. And that's one of the reasons why I bought Gemini, was because I liked her sculpt, I liked her head sculpt, and I liked the way the figure overall looked. Now, my only issues, again, are the fact that we don't have the forward shoulder, but that's just something that wasn't even on standard classified women at the time. We only got it with Retro Scarlet. And my other issue is that we, again, did not get the neutral face to show us the two sides of Gemini. If we had gotten that, this figure would be one that I would consider to be one of the best figures out of the line. But overall, it's a great figure, and I highly recommend you go get it. I mean, Bobby Vala has done a fantastic job with Valaverse, and these Valaverse figures that are of original characters are really great, and you could easily fudge them in with your G.I. Joe armies and make them soldiers in your army, or you can go out here and have them team up with Marvel Legends, or if you're a DC fan, you could possibly fudge this character in as the Duchess from Suicide Squad. This is a great figure, and I tell you to go pick one up. Now, right now, they're having a sale of Gemini and mini figures from Wave 3 over at Bobby Valaverse's Valaverse website, and this is a great time to go pick up this great figure and add her to your collection. Now, if you want to pick up some of my comics on the SJS Direct universe, you can pick up the first full comic, John Haynes at Death's Store, on Amazon.com right now in paperback. And damn, you fucked it up. Now, my first full comic, John Haynes at Death's Store, is available on Lulu.com right now. And if you want to pick up a paper copy, you can pick one up by clicking the link in the description box and get a copy for the same price it was at the 2022 Kickstarter. And if you want to check out the characters of the SJS Direct universe, you can find all of the books in the ISIS series, the Esteem series, the John Haynes series, the books of the Spinsterella trilogy, and my vampire novel Eternal Night, available on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. And you can also find SJS Direct universe books at other online booksellers like Draft to Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and big box retailers like Walmart and Target. And if you'd like to see me do more action figure review videos and be able to buy more action figures for action figure reviews, you can send a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video of Gemini. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, Illuminati. The man who rules the world takes on the head of the global elite in this all-new action-packed John Haynes series adventure. Get your copy of John Haynes Illuminati in paperback and e-readers at Amazon.com and online booksellers everywhere. Now available in paperback and e-readers, Isis, Dark Incubus. The goddess next door gets enthralled in a romantic entanglement with an evil incubus in this all-new Isis series adventure. Get your copy of Isis, Dark Incubus in paperback and e-readers today. Coming to paperback and e-readers, Esteem Horror in the Hamptons. The aspiring angel tries to escape a house of horrors in this all-new Esteem series adventure. Pre-order your copy of Esteem Horror in the Hamptons in digital format at Amazon.com, Google Play, Draft to Digital, and other digital booksellers, or pick up your paperback copy on May 24th. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.